Hello everybody, welcome to the TrueLife News Show today. Oh my goodness guys, if this is not back-to-back two of the biggest days, bombshell news, breaking news that we're getting to report to you guys, I don't know what's going on. Two of the most prominent Democratic leaders in the past 20, 30 years, some may even say 40, but are about to get it, everybody. President Donald Trump is about to bring justice along with his team, Pam Bondi, and of course Elon Musk, who's literally uncovered the actual evidence that we're about to tell you about. Things are about to go down big time. We finally are going to be bringing forth Nancy Pelosi. You heard me right, guys. Nancy Pelosi, former House Speaker, is being brought into hearings to the Oversight Committee, to the floor before Congress. This is huge, everybody. Pelosi has been caught in an ethics scandal that involved nonprofits tied to her families getting $12 million plus in federal grants, and this is all going to be brought forth before the Oversight hearing scheduled this next week, guys. This is huge. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys. This is literally one of the, if not the top Democrat who has finally been caught with money, all that money being funneled through in an ethics scandal, and now she's being brought forth to a hearing before the Oversight Hearing Committee, guys. Let me know your thoughts. We're also bringing some more people because guess what, guys? All these political connections that have been used to bolster their family's wealth and continue to use taxpayer dollars for their agendas of benefiting everybody in their family as well as themselves except the American citizen is over. It is over because also Trump's officials, this is the big one, guys. You talking about the last 4 years, the big kahuna? Trump officials have leaked internal discussions about releasing the recordings of the special counsel Hur's interrogation of Biden, former President Biden. It is believed that the recordings reveal the president's cognitive impairment and decline. Biden, guys, listen to this, guys. This is, I'm telling you, the show is about to get crazy today, guys. The Biden admitted to various crimes related to his mishandling and retention of classified documents, but Hur declined to prosecute as he believed the president to be an elderly man with poor memory. Guys, all this is coming out. Trump is not holding back, coming across to smack these Democrats with the justice, guys. I'm telling you, let me know your thoughts. I'm so ready for this. But you know what? Trump is putting Americans first because we love to bring you the truth and the good news, guys. Another $2 billion in massive cuts to the left-wing DEI initiatives has been added today to the Doge savings because, you know, everybody's waiting for those Doge dividend checks, guys. We want to see them. And again, Ukraine President Zelensky has announced a full ceasefire effective immediately, announced this morning shortly after Trump stated he would speak with the Ukrainian leader. Guys, so much breaking news going today. We've got Nancy Pelosi finally been held accountable. You got Biden leaked all these leaked documents and discussions and all these recordings about to be leaked. Guys, I want to say thank you to everybody who is watching, to all of our subscribers, all of our viewers. Thank you so much for your support. Guys, thank you guys for liking and sharing these videos. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing to our family. We want you here, joining the TrueLife News family and helping us to just bring the truth, guys, to as many people as possible. I want to say thank you to everybody that is a member of the channel. Y'all are the best, and thank you so much to everybody that gives a super chat donation. Want to give some love to Anna Diaz and Elaine Demeen. Guys, y'all show Anna and Elaine some love in the chat. And just want to say thank you to everybody that supports our channel by sharing. If you don't mind doing us a huge favor of hitting the like button, guys, clicking that thumbs up like button, it really does help out so much. But guys, huge show today. We've got Nancy Pelosi being caught in an ethics scandal, $12 million funneled to her family, finally being brought before the Oversight Hearing Committee that has already been scheduled. Biden's Her's interrogation of their whole entire recordings being released, showing that Biden admitted to various crimes related to his mishandling of all kinds of documents. Guys, this is huge. Check this out. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
Joe Biden's back. The revenge tour is in full swing. First stop was the BBC. Today, The View. After a little trouble finding a seat, he called the country sexist.
Why do you think the vice president lost, and were you surprised?
I wasn't surprised, not because I didn't think the vice president was the most qualified person to be president. She is. She's qualified to be president of the United States of America. But I was surprised. I wasn't surprised because they went the route of the sexist route, the whole route. I mean, this is...
No, guys, everybody on MAGA went the sexist route because it had nothing to do with her word salads, couldn't even speak without a teleprompter, all of her cackling. No, nothing to do with that. It was because everybody that was MAGA was sexist.
A woman, she's this, she's that. I mean, it really, I've never seen quite as successful and a consistent campaign undercutting the notion that a woman couldn't lead the country and a woman of mixed race.
Biden just said he knew Kamala was going to lose. He said, of course she was going to lose. She's a woman. You saw what happened to Hillary. America's sexist. Biden went on The View and said, I told you so. You never should have staged the coup. I can't believe you thought Kamala was going to win, you idiots. Remember, he only endorsed her as payback to Barack after he got whacked.
Ooh.
Kamala's whole campaign blew up on The View, remember? She couldn't think of anything she'd do differently. Joe just went back to the scene of the crime.
There has been some reporting that you encouraged her for there to be no daylight between the two of you. First, is that true? And do you think in retrospect that she should have tried to differentiate all the wins that your administration had?
Well, look, first of all, I did not advise her to say that, number one. Like I said, I was vice president. I understand the role, number one. Number two, I think it was, I think she was talking about wouldn't have changed the successes we've had, not as opposed.
No. They asked her, is there anything that you would change that under the Biden administration had done? And she said, not a dang thing, guys. What I love is where you're about to see, guys, that he brought his wife, Jill, to come and save him because he starts forgetting what the actual question is, guys. This person was literally going to run to be our next president and can't even remember to make a sentence longer or a speech longer than 30 seconds, guys. Thank God we dodged a bullet on this one.
To that we wouldn't change anything at all. She has to be your own person. And she was. She was part of every success we had.
Biden did it again. He still won't let Kamala have any daylight between them. She's going to be running in 28, and Biden's going to be on a rocking chair saying, I taught her everything she knows. Then he says he shouldn't have stepped down.
Knowing what you know now, do you think you would have beat him?
Yeah, he still got 7 million fewer votes.
Yes.
There you go, okay? A lot of people didn't show up. Number one. Number two, they're very close in those toss-up states. It wasn't a slam dunk.
None of this makes sense.
You cannot make
this
stuff up, guys.
If you thought you could have beaten him, why'd you step down? If you knew Kamala would lose, why'd you step down? Why exactly did you step down?
Former president you served under, Barack Obama, George Clooney, a longtime supporter of yours, major Democratic donor, Chuck Schumer, your dear friend Nancy Pelosi also had expressed concerns about your ability to do the job for 4 more years. Can I ask what your relationship is with President Obama and how you address those concerns that they raised?
Well, look, I think that the only reason I got out of the race was because I didn't want to have a divided Democratic Party. It was a simple proposition. And so that's why I got out of the race. I thought it was better to put the country ahead of my interest, my personal interest. I'm not being facetious. I'm being deadly earnest about that.
If Biden knew Kamala was going to lose and you knew he was going to win, how is that putting country above party? If you're a Democrat, it's the opposite. It's putting party above country. What is Biden?
Guys, you know what I love about this is that you can't deny it. Everything is coming out. They lied. Everybody's on the Democratic Party has been corrupt. They've been lying. They've been lying to the American people. This is the huge breaking news, guys. They came out this morning. Pelosi caught in an ethics scandal after a nonprofit tied to her family received $12 million in federal grants. Now an oversight hearing has been scheduled. Guys, everything's coming out. If you appreciate the truth, guys, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button. Welcome so much, Southern Grandma, to the family, as well as Deanna Rankin. Thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. Said, I'm concerned about Pam Bondi. We need to pray for everyone, even President Trump. 100%. Y'all show Deanna some love in the chat. Biden cannot help himself. He wanted to run, and they cooed him. They kicked him out. Pelosi is now being caught in an ethics scandal. We're not talking about 1,000 or 100,000. We're talking over $10 million, people. This is the stuff that we want our justice team to go after, and they're finally bringing the hearings before Congress to hold them accountable. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
I don't care if his party's divided if he beats Trump. If Trump's a dictator, like he says he was, why would Biden purposely lose an election? Now Trump's president and the Democrats are more divided than ever.
100%.
This is why he went on The View. Any real journalist would have picked up on the flaws of that logic and say, Joe, what are you talking about? Finally, they got to the debate.
Well, you know what freaked everybody out was that debate.
Yep.
It wasn't a great night. It was a bad night.
Terrible night.
And everybody lost their mind. Why do you think people bought into it, especially the Democrats?
Well, first of all, we still were winning primaries. We were still doing everything. The Democratic Party at large didn't buy into it, but the Democratic leadership and some of the very significant contributors did. When I left the race, Kamala had hundreds of millions of dollars. She had the best organized campaign. I'm going to say something outrageous. I've not lost many debates in my life. I've been pretty good at doing that. I was sick.
Biden says the Democrat Party was still behind him. He just had the sniffles. Pelosi and donors didn't understand that.
Wow.
The big guy claims he was on track to win. His campaign operation was better than Trump's. And he handed Kamala the world's fattest war chest. And he says it's not his fault. He was just too successful. All he wants is a thank you. Jill was there, and she says Barack should have shown her husband a little more respect.
Ooh.
I went onto the stage after the debate. I mean, we all saw it. It was terrible. And so Joe looked at me and he said, I'll use screwed up. He said, he didn't say that.
We all know Joe Biden. We know what he said.
And I said, yeah, you did, Joe. But we have hundreds of people waiting for us. Put your shoulders back. Walk out there. You know, be who you are. And we were not going to let 90 minutes of a debate define his presidency and all those years of service.
Jill just admitted her husband bombed the debate. But here's what she said right after.
Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question.
question.
You knew all the...
Everyone.
Guys, where is it as a presidential candidate a success to answer every question? Are you kidding me? Are you at elementary school that you actually kept your attention long enough to answer every question? Guys, this is a joke. But this is what's happening. So much is going on with Trump winning and with all the justice that's coming through against Letitia James. And I just showed you Nancy Pelosi. They're trying to distract with Joe Biden doing these things to get more view time away from Trump.
Else who watched the debate saw a man who couldn't be president and who should never have been president. The ladies asked Joe all about the tell-all books, quoting insiders who said he was mentally unfit and the White House covered it up. Listen.
You are wrong. There's nothing to sustain that, number one. Number two, think of what we were left with. We were left with a circumstance where we had an insurrection when I started. Not since the Civil War. We went to work and we got it done. And, one of the things and
Alyssa, one of the things I think is that the people who wrote those books were not in the White House with us. Mm-hmm. And they didn't see how hard Joe worked every single day. I mean, it was nonstop. It's the White House and Joe.
Guys, I pray to God that people that watch these shows actually understand that we had from his White House staff that he literally didn't show up till meetings till after 10 o'clock, okay? Most people's workdays start around 8, that he would leave meetings early. He didn't even have a cabinet meeting for over a year. And when he did, guess who was running it? Jill Biden was at the head of the table. Trump has already had how many? 3 or 4 cabinet meetings that has been presented. Guys, people, I hope that people see the context of everything that's going on and are not just don't blatantly believe all the lies that are coming from this TV show.
Worked really hard. I think he was a great president. You look at things today, give me Joe Biden anytime.
Dr. Jill just took over that interview like Belichick's girlfriend. What was that? And none of what she's saying is true. Jen Psaki said Joe never got up early once unless it was like really important. And they'd call lids at 4 o'clock and you'd never see him again. Remember the marks Joe had on his face from the sleeping machine? We saw that at noon.
Dang.
There were stretches where he didn't see the president in public for 3 to 4 days, sometimes a whole week. But Jill says he wasn't hiding.
I did not create a cocoon around him. I mean, you saw him in the Oval Office. You saw him making speeches. He wasn't hiding somewhere. I didn't have him, sequestered in.
Let me tell you this, guys. We covered some of Joe Biden's speeches. He was always an hour or an hour and a half late, and then he would only make a speech for 12 to 13 minutes. In no way, shape, or form was this guy even close to what this lady is saying.
Someplace. I mean, that's
Wish she had.
Was that hurtful to you when they were describing you as Lady Macbeth and all of
Yes,
those?
it was very hurtful. It was very hurtful, especially from some of our so-called friends.
What?
They say in Washington, if you want a friend, get a dog. Well, the Biden's got a dog and he bit everybody. Jill was running cabinet meetings, just like she was running this interview.
Told you.
Here's why.
The projects, the benefits. How do you lead the world without having the best infrastructure in the world? How do you lead the world without having the best healthcare in the world? How do you lead the world without having the best education system in the world? How do you lead the world when you don't have that done?
The truth is, Joe can't talk, can't walk, and couldn't govern. No one wants to hear from him. One Democrat says this, I don't think he's reading the room at the moment. But the revenge tour isn't all about revenge. It's about money.
Yes, it is.
Biden Inc. has collapsed. All those Biden grandkids had a lavish lifestyle, which they very much liked. Hunter made hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars. Joe, as a former president, is not in a position to get the same kind of paid speeches, corporate boards, book deal. Biden Inc. needs a source of revenue. And Hunter does, even though he was pardoned and he's not going to prison, Hunter does not have great earning capacity. The reality that Biden Inc., the trough is empty. The spigot has shut down.
Dang.
They need a way to get back in the game to make big money.
Biden left office and the whole extended family suddenly went broke. And no one's paying his speaking fees, so the only way they can survive is write their own tell-all.
I'm writing another book.
Good.
Like 6,000 people are. I got to write a presidential memoir.
Oh, boy.
But they told me they had to do it within a year. No one's ever done one in a year.
Wow.
So it says, don't read those half dozen tell-alls from White House insiders. He says he's going to write his own book, and he's bragging it'll be done in a year, right in time for the midterms. The Democrats are going to love it. Jill was keeping a secret diary during her time as First Lady. Something about the Bidens and diaries, I don't know. And it's supposed to be explosive. Insiders say a Jill Biden book could be worth $30 million in a deal.
Whoa.
And the Bidens just hired a crisis manager. They've been taking a beating with all these exposés. The next book that's about to drop is supposed to be the most damaging. Jake Tapper's tell-all. He obviously didn't write it. He has a co-author, but it's the worst one yet. There's a battle going on over the party's legacy. They want to purge Biden from history, absolve themselves of any responsibility for the last 4 years. They say they had no idea Joe was that bad, and they had nothing to do with the cover-up. It was just a few people like Jill, Hunter, and Biden's Delaware guys. Biden saying, no, you're not taking me down. I was president. Best 4 years since FDR, and I'm not going down without a fight. Well, Donald Trump, he's about to give him a little push. The White House is looking to release the Her tapes.
Right there, guys. The release of the Her tapes will change everything. This scandal right here, guys, is going, I feel like, going to be the first of many of what we're about to see. Pelosi has been caught in an ethics scandal at after nonprofit tied her to her family receiving $12 million in federal grants. Now an oversight hearing has been scheduled. Finally, accountability is coming, baby. If you appreciate this, guys, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button. Thank you so much, Kent, for the super chat. Let's go. Kent, there should be a button below the video so you can become a member, join in the family. Thank you so much, Jim Arnold, for your support with the channel. And G.L. Poffreyman, who said, True Life News family is the best for up-to-date news. Love it. Let's go. Y'all show them some love in the chat. Guys, what I love, too, most of all, is that as they release all these Her tapes, all these things that are going to expose where the Democratic Party is at, that we still have pit bulls like Anna Paulina Luna, who is in charge of the House Task Force on Declassification of Federal Secrets. She's the chairwoman, who's now demanding that Attorney General Pam Bondi immediately release the long-awaited Epstein files. We are pushing them to the brink, guys. We now know that Project Veritas James O'Keefe released a video showing that Pam Bondi had actually spoken prior to somebody at a restaurant during the day about the Epstein files, and now people are getting fed up. They want to know the truth. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I feel like there's a story behind this, guys. And what else is happening? On the full spectrum, guys, Zelensky just called for, put a full ceasefire, and the whole trade war is kicking butt right now. America is winning big time. Check this out.
I've been talking about the real economy, and capital is the key, right? If you want economic growth, you have to have productivity. That's down for 70 years in a row. But if you want to increase productivity, the key is capital. Human capital is not a sexy story at all either. That's a disaster. K-12, the kids in this country have been left behind. The liberals used to like them, like the kids. The left has no need for the little kids. But capital, Trump's brought in,
Well, they have a big need for little kids, but it's not a need that society. It's a sick need. It's a perverted need.
Yeah.
What they're doing to pervert the K through 12. This is one of the reasons Trump won. Those mothers who were not MAGA saw what was going on in the schools and the freak show they've turned the schools into, and the librarians. I remember when I was a kid, the librarian was, looked like a grandma who was very squared away, knew where all the books were. Yep. And now it's a freak show. They're all Marxist.
Yeah, well, and so good news, Trump's bringing back $2 trillion in capital.
Let's go.
According to the White House, $7 trillion promises.
Hang on a second. $2 trillion, let's bifurcate this.
Yeah.
$2 trillion is what the gross amount of investment they're talking about over multiple years from corporations.
Firms, right?
These are people that are targeting, have talked about plants, equipment, whether it's biopharmaceutical companies or car makers or things, that is coming from corporate entities, both private and publicly traded.
Yep.
The additional $5 trillion is coming from Masasan at SoftBank, the sovereign wealth funds, the Arabs come, the Saudis come over here, they're going to invest $1 trillion.
Yep.
That may or may not happen. Yep. I'm also, to be blunt, I'm not in love with foreign capital from sovereign wealth funds coming to the United States of America. I think you look at the pension funds, our pension funds shouldn't be in China, and the Saudis shouldn't be here. But if you're a company, I'm not totally crazy about that, but that's better. But that investment you're saying is going to drive productivity, growth, etc.
Yeah, and give the shots. And Trump's fundamental transformation here is we have massive trade deficits, right? So we have a current account that's out of whack.
$25 trillion
on the earth, right? So as we turn that around.
Hang for a second. Stop. Full stop, economist. So when we say there's three things you got to look at: an annual deficit of $2 trillion that adds up, continue to the $37 trillion right now we have a debt.
Right.
Okay, that's one. Number two is the $25 trillion accumulative trade deficit. Okay, number 18 trillion of that directly tied to China.
Yep.
Number three is the $25 trillion of intellectual property they've stolen or forced us to give to them in joint ventures, which is $600 billion a year, and that's outside sources saying that. Mr. Economist, let's go back to the second. Every time with my Wall Street buddies, I bring up the 25 trillion, they go, that's just a bookkeeping thing. It means nothing. It's that, oh, we're buying great stuff with our money and they're taking it. I go, are you insane? This is our monetizing our assets to pay for foreign goods that they're getting getting the value added. They're getting the value added on the production side and the wage side. Who is right? My Wall Street, but Gary Cohen in that crowd that says it's just a bookkeeping, or the populist nationalists?
No, this is the whole populist energy, right? We're buying goods over the last 30 years from China. They get our capital. They're investing, and this is the part you don't like. They're investing in our land, in our firms, in Pebble Beach, and all this, right?
Shouldn't have any of it.
National security concerns, all that kind of thing. And so we'll see this new burst of capital is coming in likely from friends of President Trump, or from countries who have learned about our leverage. And there's a new leverage at play where Trump is saying you can either play nice right now or you're going to learn the hard way.
You're saying this is the tariffs. You're going to pay a premium. So you can either move your production over here and avoid the tariffs, you're going to pay a premium. By the way, the countries, I don't have a problem with any of the one countries that are, I have a huge problem with the CCP buying farmland. I don't have a problem with any of the countries.
Guys, let me tell you this. If the CCP is the China Communist Party is able to buy farmland or buy land near our military bases, I promise you somebody is getting paid. None of this happens by chance, guys. All of this is coordinated. And what bothers me the most is when you see this stuff happening and the Democrats defend it, the Republicans are trying to fight it, but nothing ever gets done. And until Trump came in, that's whenever somebody with the steel backbone actually started doing something about it. The amount, I think it is that the CCP owns about 300,000 plus acres. Let me check that for you.
They're going to be trading partners. I just don't like the fact we have foreign capital from sovereign wealth funds coming into the nation, because I think we have enough capital. The pension funds, one of the problems is we're putting it all over the world. Time to focus that capital back here in the United States. Okay, huge developments. By the way, birchgold.com.
Yep, guys, I called it. 383,000 acres is owned by China. Like, that's a lot of acres. And this is the thing. It's scattered throughout all the United States. And again, some of them are even near military bases. And this is where, again, they said, look, the CCP has influence over the companies that own these, and they use it for China's national intelligence. All this stuff is corrupt, guys, and I cannot wait till we continue to expose it.
We started the road to Rio last night. That interview was pretty good. Salahi Motion, the author of Paper Soldiers, How We Weaponize the Dollar, and she's saying, hey, there's downside. Remember, we love economic warfare because it keeps us away from kinetic war. There is a downside to that, right? People start to want to get off the dollar because they know you can weaponize it against them. She was a lot less concerned about the BRICS right now because she says, hey, the dollar's got them. But she was a little wobbly when I said, hey, how much the Japanese just told us, put a shot across our bow by saying, hey, I understand Navarro's reciprocity, and I know non-tariff barriers, and there are no Buicks being sold in Japan. There's no Chevys. And the Japanese saying, I got it. I understand that, guys. And they didn't say it was wrong. We'll sit down. But, oh, by the way, we own $1 trillion of this crap. Okay? And you're looking, the last time we looked, you're going to have to sell us $1 trillion more. So that's going to be part of the discussion. One of the reasons is that in this deficit calculation, I think what Bessent and Navarro and others are doing is saying, look, if you can't close it on a deal itself, there may be another way to do it. And maybe to close it, you buy a couple of hundred year bonds at 2%. Now that has been something that,
guys, I'm telling you, if we're not seeing everything coming to light right now, guys, ooh, I love this so much. So the DOJ considering releasing Biden's classified document confession. Guys, not only does he, in these tapes, talk about his mishandling of classified documents, exposing his mental acuity, the cognitive decline. All this stuff was literally not prosecuted by her because he said that Biden was an elderly man with a poor memory. How in the world could this happen before, guys, before the actual presidential campaign started taking off? Could somebody like this be the president of the United States? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because this right here will expose the truth. Guys, I don't care that he's a Democrat. I want the best person in the seat of president to put America first. If you appreciate this, guys, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button, thank you so much for your support. Every single one of these, guys, is coming out. And what I love, too, is that the bombshell that's about to come out, it's gonna, even Scott Jennings, our boy on CNN, listen to him, guys, because again, too, the facts are winning like nobody's business.
Watching him on The View today and watching some of the interviews he did over.
Thank you for your viewership.
Yeah, I saw it. It's rare for me, but I did watch it. I will just say, watching him over the last few days reminded me that a whole bunch of people were telling us with a straight face that this man was capable of serving another 4 years as president. And that these appearances, coupled with what I understand is going to be the equivalent of a nuclear bomb dropped on the Democratic Party when Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson's book come out next week, I don't know that the Democrats have fully internalized what's about to happen to them. Between what he looks like today and what they're about to report,
I am not sure that Joe.
You just said that he told.
You
said that he told Kamala Harris that she could not have any distance from him.
It's been reported. He told.
It doesn't matter what he was.
He told her point blank, no daylight, kid, no daylight.
Because reporting can never be wrong.
Are you attacking the journalism around it?
You think reporting can never be wrong?
Sir, if you want to be anti-journalism,
you come on here and you attack reporting every night.
I do not.
We actually asked him the question
There's critical
directly.
reporting about this guy.
Okay.
And he told her point
Well, we asked
no
him.
daylight.
We asked him directly today.
All right.
Did you tell her
You think he's
that?
ever told a lie?
I don't think he tells many lies.
Cognitive decline, I can tell you that much.
I don't think he tells many lies. I don't think he's done a
Come on.
Wait. No, you know why you don't get to laugh like that? Because you support a guy who lies every freaking day and lies continuously. You support a guy who cannot acknowledge that he lost the 2020 election and that lies about it.
Yeah.
I have no idea what Jake did.
Thank you.
Have you read it? Have you read it?
Guys, we gotta go. Thank you very much. We'll be right back.
Guys, I'm telling you, they can't handle it. They can't handle the truth. But what I really want to see, guys, if there's anything that I want to see dang accountability for, is that dang border. Biden, Alejandro Mayorkas, all of them, even our fake border czar Kamala Harris. Listen to this.
The House Judiciary Committee, Congressman Jim Jordan joins me now. Congressman, what power should the president have to remove non-citizen criminals?
Well, he should be able to do what he's been doing and not have some judge say, turn the plane around, bring the bad guy who's part of an illegal terrorist organization, bring that individual back to the country. That makes no sense. There is always some level of process that people are due, but the level of process that an illegal migrant part of an international terrorist gang gets is not the same as a citizen. And these individuals were evaluated, they were determined that they were part of a gang, and they were sent back. But you got these judges saying, bring him back to the country.
Guys, I'm ready for justice. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. When I see this craziness happening, I'm thinking Democrats, they never say anything about the lawlessness. It's like they're actually for it.
It makes no sense, and I think violates sort of the fundamental premise of Article 2 of the Constitution. First sentence says, executive power shall be vested in a president of the United States. Not some unelected federal district judge, not some bureaucrat, not the president of the United States puts his name on the ballot. He should be making these decisions, and I think that's where the American people are.
It just seems like it's a way for the Democrats to hold up the whole process, clog it up, lawyer them up, hold it up, and basically stop the deportations. That's what it seems like to me.
And we're we're looking at every avenue we have in the legislative branch. We've had oversight hearings on this. We had former Speaker Gingrich come and testify, did a great job. We've passed legislation that deals with the injunction issue. The bill said, we passed it through the committee and through the full House. The bill said if a federal district judge has some injunction, that injunction shouldn't apply nationwide. It should apply to the parties in the case in that respective jurisdiction only. We think that makes good sense. Even Justice Kagan a few years ago felt that this was something that was needed. And then, frankly, we're going to have to look at the power of the purse, I think, to also maybe send a message to the judicial branch that this is not how it's supposed to operate.
You're on the House Oversight Committee. On June the 12th, you're going to hear from Democrat governors on their sanctuary policies. Can you end the sanctuary madness, Congressman?
Well, one way you end it is to do the oversight and make sure the country knows what's going on. We had a hearing a few weeks ago in oversight where we had in mayors from around the country who were sanctuary cities.
Guys, I don't understand how the judicial branch, which controls the purse of the United States of America, cannot defund these sanctuary cities or stop giving them money. These cities are literally breaking federal immigration laws. And I don't understand, with the majority that we have in the House and the majority that we have in the Senate, how we cannot pass these dang laws to stop giving hundreds of billions of dollars to illegal immigrants in these sanctuary cities, bypassing our own American citizens. It makes no sense. And I hate it because what he just said, because guys, trust me, I'll call everybody out. He said, well, can't you just stop giving them the money? He says, well, we want to bring them to Congress to let everybody see. And so the American people know. It doesn't matter if we know. It matters that they control the purse, yet they never stop the dang funding. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
And I remember the situation, because I questioned the mayor from Denver, this Abraham Gonzalez, who they had in custody. I sent a detainer to the city, to the jail where this guy was being housed. This guy was in for attempted vehicle theft, aggravated assault, charged with both of those. They said, if you're going to release this guy to the streets, let us know. Give us 48 hours notice so we can pick him up and arrest him for being in the country illegally. They gave him like 40 minutes notice, released the individual to the street. ICE had to send 6 officers out to get him on the street. And as a result, you jeopardize everyone's safety, the officer's safety, the public safety, and just as importantly, the migrant safety. They had to tase this migrant. This is how stupid these policies are. So I think when you draw attention to it in oversight hearings, it helps, I think, the country understand just how ridiculous the left has become with its whether it's sanctuary cities or sanctuary states. And that's what this hearing is about coming up next month.
Do you think the public perceives it that way?
I do. I really do. I mean, and I think this case in Milwaukee, where the judge let the bad guy out the back door when the good guys were coming in the front door to arrest him, I think that just underscores it even more. This is ridiculous when you have these left-wing federal judges, left-wing municipalities and states doing these crazy sanctuary policies. I do think the American people get it because the American people have common sense.
Congressman Jim Jordan, thanks for joining us, Jim. We'll see you again.
Let me tell you this, guys. There's some pit bulls. Look at this. So, you know that we have Representative Elise Stefanik, big MAGA person. She talks about the investigation into Letitia James as a vital step toward justice. She said Tish James' actions embody the corruption among New York elected far-left Democrats led by Kathy Hochul. She said, I recently exposed how Governor Hochul, far-left Albany Democrats secretly inserted language into the state's budget to cover James' legal expenses with taxpayer money. All this stuff, guys, listen to this. If the Democrats know a way to spend every one of our dang taxpayer dollars to fund every single thing in their life, we're seeing living proof of it. Jim Arnold, thank you so much for the super chat, brother. Let's go. He said, you have the best summary of the day's events found anywhere on the web. Thanks to you and your staff. Let's go, man. Y'all show Jim some love in the chat.
Congresswoman Elise Stefanik responding to the investigation, commending the FBI's decision to look into the claims of mortgage fraud. Stefanik went on to call AG James hypocritical, arguing her case is similar to the civil fraud case that she launched against President Trump and his company in New York. That case claims the president's company committed business fraud in the Empire State. Congresswoman Elise.
You see that, guys? All this business fraud, all this mortgage fraud, voter fraud, all these things finally getting exposed, guys. And what I love is that Trump is winning on every single spectrum, guys. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up like button, guys, we are showing you everything because no matter what, we have to continue bringing the truth. T Heavy Guy, thank you so much for the 10 gifted memberships. Let's go. Guys, if you got a free membership from T Heavy Guy, show him some love in the chat. Let's go. Growing the family. Check this out.
Base data that we don't want to show the world. What do you make of this, Newt?
Well, look, they were already under great pressure because their workforce is starting to shrink with their population policies. They had built a whole bunch of cities that are not sustainable, literally empty cities. They had followed a policy where local governments made money only by building things, so they kept doing economic deals that were totally unsustainable. So the debt problem is enormous. And I think they're about to confront the reality that, you know, we can buy from Vietnam, from India, from Mexico, from Brazil. It's a big planet. We don't have to buy from China. But China does not have any other customer that can replace us. And so I think the economic pressure on them will get bigger and bigger pretty rapidly.
And, you know, they break all their promises, right? You know, I should have put it in the riff, or I thought I had, but they broke their promise to Mr. Trump on fentanyl. They broke that promise at the G20 meeting. I was there in Argentina in late 2019, as I recall. They broke that promise on fentanyl. They broke all their promises on the Phase 1 trade deal. They have a very imperial president. He's ruining the country. He's ruining the economy. He's thrown out the market reforms. Plus, as you well know, politically, China's trying to take advantage of the United States wherever 100%. They can. I mean, they're financing wars in Russia. They're financing the war in Iran and the Middle East, right, by buying oil. They shouldn't be buying. They threaten Taiwan. They're threatening us in Latin America. They're threatening us in Africa. I mean, you name it, China's there. I mean, I'm quite serious. I wish Peter Navarro were going on this trip because Navarro's a hardliner, and I've become a very hardliner about China. What are we going to accomplish here in Switzerland? What do you think, Newt?
Well, I think they're going to meet and agree that they should meet.
Yeah, right.
There's not going to be any big deal. But look, Churchill used to say, jaw, jaw, jaw is better than war, war, war. So I'm perfectly happy to talk with the Chinese, but I think your key point is it's not just trust but verify. It's trust but inspect, because you have to assume that to the degree they can get away with it, they will cheat on every single agreement.
Right.
So you've got to design agreements where you can monitor them every day, or you should expect to be cheated.
Our system is so superior to their system. You know, go back a ways. You know, down through the years, China's going to overtake us. China's going to do this. China's going to do that. What China's done is they've ruined their country. All right, or let me just say the governing Chinese elites, Xi Jinping and company, have ruined China. Their economy is in ruins. They won't even publish the data. It's so bad. By the way, cremations are rising at a hefty annual rate. They won't even talk about how much soy sauce they're producing or not producing. Unemployment is skyrocketing. I mean, how's China going to take over the U.S.? How's China going to take over the world with their economy in complete shambles? There's a good question to ask. And by the way, why should Mr. Trump let them off the hook, Newt Gingrich? Why should he let them off the hook right now? Let him talk. You're right. Jaw, jaw. Fine. Good. But why should he let them off the hook?
Well, I don't think he believes that 145% tariff is rational, because that basically ends all trade. You get nothing out of it. But I do think step by step, we want to crowd them We want to make sure that on key things, pharmaceuticals, military capability, electronics, that we squeeze them down and move things back here. I also think, we want to insist that they keep their word. I think the president was right to say that fentanyl, in a way, is sort of the biggest single issue, because we're losing nearly 100,000 people a year to drug overdoses. And a great deal of that is a deliberate strategy by the Chinese to flood fentanyl into the U.S. It's also a huge problem for Canada. And I think we have to hold them accountable. It's not hard, but they're going to do everything they can to avoid it. And I think, in a way, this may become the crisis of the Chinese system. Because, as you pointed out earlier, if they start having people in the streets, if they start having significant strikes, China is a very volatile country. And it can very easily suddenly spin out of control. And I think Xi Jinping has to be very aware that he's now riding a tiger.
Quick quote. Here's
guys. I want to tell you some really quick breaking news. Like, this stuff is blowing my mind. What I have to like. This is the stuff I'm gonna report it, guys, no matter what. But we now have some blue state Republicans that are threatening the big beautiful bill, Trump's big beautiful bill, if over the SALT deduction cap. This is what's my problem, guys. We are trying to not only fix our foreign trade policy, stop getting ripped off by all these countries, trying to put America first, and then you literally have all these blue state Republicans that are saying, you know what? Our state sucks and we have to have this, and if you don't do this, we're not going to vote for the big beautiful bill. But it's not even that. They're not even trying to codify Trump's executive orders to make them actual laws. Like, we are sitting in such a deep rut of rhinos within the Congress. It blows my mind. And I want to expose every single one of these guys, because it should be Americans first. I understand you have the state, the local law taxes, things like that. But right now we have so many executive orders that need to be fixed. And we're not doing anything about those. We're not even putting bills to the floor. We're not codifying anything. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
Just some sound. Scott Bessent about this Chinese trip on Laura Ingram's Ingram angle last night. Take a listen, Newt.
On Saturday and Sunday, we will agree what we're going to talk about. My sense is that this will be about de-escalation, not about the big trade deal. But we've got to de-escalate before we can move forward. And look, everything's on the table, but we don't want a decoupling. We don't want a decoupling.
Well, I don't know. I mean, to a large extent, we are going to decouple. I mean, I think that's what reciprocity is going to deliver. But we will see on that point. But look, you're right. 145% is a tariff's too high. But I'm willing to bet, no matter what happens, perhaps Mr. Trump will adjust that tariff slightly lower. Right? Maybe there'll be some carve-outs and some exemptions. Okay, fine. But in the first go-around, we were on the China trade team. We kept the tariffs on China during the negotiations. I'll bet you Mr. Trump keeps the tariffs on China during these negotiations. And by the by, if somebody thinks there's a quick fix coming, think again. These things will drag on forever, Newt. They'll drag on for never, because the Chinese are impossible. And as you say, you know, you don't trust, you can't really verify. I don't know how you verify. They're just going to go on forever.
Look, if we can get a good deal with India, get a good deal with Japan and Korea, get a good deal with Vietnam, we're surrounding China with very desirable economic opportunities that are not going to be available to China. And then if we can get the Europeans to talk sense, you could have by this summer, probably late summer, but you're going to suddenly have a tariff regime that makes sense, that is profitable to the U.S. both in revenue and in job growth. And you combine that with the amazing job they have of getting investments being poured into this country. I'm writing a piece for Friday about the coming Trump boom, which people may think is a little over the top. But I fully expect if we can pass the Economic Growth Act by the 4th of July, and we can then be in a position to get the tariffs done, I think we'll be in a boom by next summer.
By the way,
guys, and this is going to be big too. What I have to show you next, again, it's like the wins are just coming, because we are building so much Doge savings. It's not just about winning on the tariff side, it's about winning internally. The White House highlights over $2 billion in savings from DEI cuts during Trump's administration's first 100 days. Guys, Trump administration has cut nearly 750 DEI workers previously employed under President Joe Biden. All of this diversity, equity, inclusion, it's the worst. It's woke. I've been a part of a company where they did this. They started trying to bring this stuff in, and you know what it did? All it did was cause problems. You hire people, you don't hire people based upon the best person. You hire them based upon what skin color they are, where they come from. Merit's not first. It's not about merit. It's not about doing the actual job. It's about how they look. And that is so un-American. And what you're about to see next, guys, the White House Rapid Response Team actually posted this. And I got to show you just how amazing it is that Trump is kicking butt right now. Check this out.
So here's the question. If everything at the FAA was allowed to get decades old, covered in dust, and decrepit to the point that it shut down Newark, what was Pete Buttigieg doing? Where were they spending their money? Well, the Will Cain Show has on its desk, in its hands, documents from the White House. We read these documents. We dove into these documents, released exclusively to us here on television, that shows how deeply the federal government invested in DEI. Let's walk through it department by department. First of all, every state in the country was forced through the Department of Transportation to adopt quantitative equity screening components by 2030. I know what you're thinking. Will, what does that mean? I don't know. I just know that their priority then is on DEI and not making sure the FAA keeps planes safely landing at Newark. How about the Department of State? Promotion requirements at the Department of State required that employees document their support for diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility, a prerequisite to moving up at State Department. It's only the beginning. At the Department of Education, they granted funds on paper claiming that there were too many white students in STEM. They had videos instructing teachers to flick that white man off your shoulder and to resist settler patriarchy and the white gaze.
Guys, again, we would not know anything if Trump and Elon didn't win, but I want to bring something to light too. It really bothers me whenever these instructors, these teachers, they talk like this. When 65% of a population is white, you're probably going to have the majority of people doing certain things white. Why? Because the majority of the population is white. A little over 21% is Hispanic, 13% is black, and then the rest is other minorities, Asians, things like that. But it blows my mind when it's like, let's let all these teachers and colleges and educational people, let's get out the white man. Let's get, like, dude, the country is the majority white people. Like, what are you talking about? Statistically, it's impossible.
That is your Department of Education. And yet, it continues. In other departments within the federal government, like, for example, USDA, they play DEI bingo. Pronouns in my signature line, knowing what the I in LGBTQIA plus means.
Yeah, I don't know what it means.
Inclusivity? Not sure. How about at the Veterans Affairs? They said microaggression training included things like saying all lives matter. All lives matter is a microaggression. Also, everyone can succeed if you just work hard enough. No, that's not a mantra for the VA. That's a microaggression under the previous VA. And then finally, at the Department of Labor, when hiring employees, lived experience was an important consideration when picking new candidates. It goes on and on and on and on. It's every department within the federal government, with hundreds of millions of dollars shoved to these departments to invest in DEI. Now you know not just the extent of their priorities, but their indoctrination into this roughly 5 to 10-year-old philosophy.
Guys, oh my goodness, like, The amount of stuff that we show you, especially this breaking news that came out today, is just, it's insane to think that's where America was at and was continuing to go if Trump didn't win. If you appreciate this, guys, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button. Pelosi caught in an ethics scandal after a nonprofit tied to her family received $12 million in federal grants. Oversight hearing has been scheduled, baby. Let's get them. Get the corruption out. Get the deep state out. Expose all the fraud, waste, and abuse. It's about dang time. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys, because even with this, everybody is trying to put lies. But what I love is when we get the actual congressmen or women to actually tell what the heck is actually going on. Listen to this.
You're looking at anti-Trump activist U.S. District Judge James Boasberg of D.C. By now, you've likely heard of him. And that's because for some odd reason, he keeps getting assigned to high-profile Trump cases. At least 4 thus far.
He has become the face of judicial overreach for the Republicans, beginning with his block on Trump's Venezuelan deportations. Lawmakers, rightfully so, are demanding to know how, if these assignments are truly random or is something else going on. One of those lawmakers joins us now. It's Texas Congressman Chip Roy. Congressman, look, a judge might get 1 case. This guy's gotten 4 cases. So what's Congress going to do to figure out, is there some shenanigans going on behind the scenes?
Yeah, of course there's shenanigans going on, but in this case, these are in violation of the typical rules of the way things work. But what's notable here is that Chuck Schumer raised a fuss because we had the Northern District of Texas, which was following all the rules and was simply, divvying out their cases, and certain conservative judges were getting those cases, and they didn't like that so much. So now the shoe's on the other foot, but they're actually violating the rules because they want to stop the president's agenda. It's very specific. So we need to do something about this. We need to have, Boasberg should come in and explain himself. And by the way, Republicans in the reconciliation package should be using our power of the purse and our ability to deal with jurisdiction of the courts to say, wait a minute, why do these DC courts have so much power? Why does Boasberg have so much power? Why shouldn't we limit the breadth of what they can do? Make them do parking tickets and freaking assault cases in DC, and don't let them interfere with the rest of us in the states in this country. And one final point, I think what we ought to do is take away jurisdiction in the Article 3 courts for anybody who's a non-citizen or a non-LPR, a non-green card holder. In other words, if you're here illegally and you're not a citizen, you don't get to go in front of an Article 3 judge and make this case about your status. Go to the immigration judges. We're funding a bunch more of them in the reconciliation package. You know how reconciliation works, Jason. We're spending a lot of money to beef that up. Make them go there, let them decide, and let's remove them. Don't let them go to the Article 3 courts and jam those courts up when there's a lot of people having to wait to get justice who are American citizens.
Congressman.
Does that not make common sense, guys? And what I hate is, again, we keep talking about it. What about Mike Johnson? What the crap is he doing? Well, guess what? He just gave his team, Congress, an extra 2-day weekend. Why? Because out of nowhere, they literally canceled votes that they had scheduled to codify some of Trump's executive orders, but they decided to go on a dang vacation. I'm telling you, we need a new speaker, guys. We do need a new leader in the House.
Oh, let's move on to this. House Speaker Mike Johnson looks to be ruling out some needed Medicaid changes, a tactic that could bring moderates on board, but Johnson says that the GOP will not look to change the federal share of Medicaid funding. And here's some Democrat outrage on Medicaid cuts.
I call on the Republican majority to make their pro-family rhetoric match their policy. Put America's moms and babies first and stop these proposed Medicaid cuts.
We're going to fight tooth and nail in the cauldron every day to make sure we protect America's health care. We don't need to cut health care to give Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos a tax break.
This is not about efficiency. It is not about cutting waste. This isn't about the budget, balancing the budget, dealing with our debt, or fiscal conservatism. Their motivation is disgusting. They are looking to cut health care for our constituents in order to pay for a gigantic tax cut for billionaires.
All right, Congressman, what?
Guys, do you hear them say they're trying to cut Medicare so that they can get a tax cut for billionaires? It doesn't even make sense, guys, how stupid some of these statements are that people make. But you know what anybody on the left hears? All they hear is cut Medicare. That's all they hear. Don't even listen to the entire context.
Has potentially been ruled out by the Speaker is lowering the reimbursement rate for Medicaid services and the per capita caps for the Medicaid Obamacare expansion recipients. Where on earth is slowing the spending of this program to $1.1 trillion a cut? When will the Republicans stand up for not bankrupting the United States of America?
Yep.
Well, Dagan, first of all, thank you for putting a spotlight on this. You've been doing it now for several weeks so that people can actually understand the facts. And let me just note that the scuttle here on the Hill, when I talk to the reporters that, run around where we are, they're saying that Democrats can't believe, Democrat leadership, Democrat staff, Democrat members can't believe how much Republicans are diving in hard to defend Obamacare and to defend the worst parts of Obamacare, which was the Medicaid expansion and what you described, which is the 90% federal match rate, to go to the able-bodied, a population that should be working, the able-bodied instead of the vulnerable for whom Medicaid was created. Our position is pretty simple. If you can work, you shouldn't be getting benefits without working. If you are able-bodied, you shouldn't be getting more benefits than the vulnerable for whom it was created. If you are on Medicaid, you shouldn't be getting more benefits than people on Medicare get. And if you are ineligible or illegal, you're not a citizen, you shouldn't be getting benefits at all. And there shouldn't be scams, these money laundering scams that California is using. This is common sense stuff. And with all due respect to the Speaker, you can't take something off the table if those of us sitting at the table haven't agreed to take it off. It is a big table. We all need to come together. I've drawn no red lines, Dagan, but I have said the math has to add up. And if you're not willing to reform Medicaid, if you're not willing to find those savings, which, by the way, are hurting vulnerable Americans, hurting poor people, hurting people who need it, then shame on us. We should stand up and lead, and then we can do what we need to do to get tax cuts, get spending down, decrease deficits, and help Americans.
Texas and Florida did not expand Medicaid, but 40% of the total population of states like New York and California are on Medicaid. 40%. And those money laundering, this.
Did you just hear this, guys? 40% of the state is on Medicaid.
Loophole that should be closed. California uses it. They tax the providers, take the money, and then spend it on Medicaid to get the reimbursement from the federal government. That state has used it to provide Medicaid for rich people and illegal aliens. That's where our federal tax dollars are going, and the Republicans won't put a stop to it. Congressman, final word.
Well, Dagan, I agree. And look, California is getting something like $119 billion in Medicaid dollars, which is bigger, I think, than Florida's entire budget. Look, we have an obligation to do what we said we would do. The president said we should get our deficits under control and balance the budget. He recognizes that Medicaid needs to be reformed. He's said so. His office has put it out. We should deliver. We should deliver responsibly so we can deliver on the tax cuts, the growth that we need, but also the health care reform so that we're not leaving the vulnerable on the outside looking in, and we're delivering deficit reduction for the American people rather than propping up a failed program. Republicans need to find the willingness to fight, and I appreciate your leadership on this yourself to highlight the issue.
Yeah, I've got a big set of lungs, unfortunately, for some.
Guys, does that not sound like, I hate it whenever, we've heard so many lies from everybody, guys. Trump administration just fired 400 scientists working on Congress mandated climate report. You know why they got fired? Because of this right here. Climate scientists are baffled why Antarctica ice sheet is growing. I thought there was global warming. I thought that the Earth was going to end in 2027. Everything that we continue to disprove that has come from the Democratic side or the progressive side or the leftist side is being disproven. People are, and you can't deny it, guys. The climate, like the sheets of ice are literally growing. But how much billions and billions of dollars has been put towards a climate agenda that there was nothing to even worry about? All it was about control. Control of you, control of your wallet, control of what you can spend your money on. It is mind-blowing how much we are seeing the truth come out big time. Lady Trucker, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's go. Said, wow, DEI sucks. And I had to say, B1 Sly One. With replace Speaker of the House with Doer of the House. Super chat. And welcome to the family, Jeanette Glendening. Y'all show them some love in the chat, guys. Y'all are the best. I want to say thank you to everybody who is watching, to all of our subscribers and viewers. Thank you so much for your support. And if you're not subscribed, please consider hitting that thumbs up like button, joining our family. We want you here. We want to take care of you with the top news. Lady Trucker with this super chat said, Johnson must get out. MTG for speaker, please. Hey, I am for it. Y'all show Lady Trucker some love in the chat. And if you don't mind doing us a huge favor, hitting that thumbs up like button, guys. I've got to give some love to our members of the channel, as well as those that have given a super chat donation. Thank you so much, Southern Grandma, Deanna Rankin, Kent, Jim Arnold, GL Poffreeman, MG, Angelo, Lady Trucker, B1 Sly One, Jeanette Glendening. Guys, show them some love in the chat. So much is going on. I'm so ready for the accountability that's coming. I'm ready that we're finally getting a hearing for Nancy Pelosi on some of the stuff that she's been doing, and Biden's tapes that show that he was incompetent, in cognitive decline. It's about dang time. Let me know your thoughts in the chat. Love you all, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.